Hi everyone, I'm James, product designer at MOD Devices, and in this video I want to tell you about MOD Device Firmware version 1.10. We plan to make a video to give an overview of every major firmware version as they're released. This firmware version was released back in April, so the video is quite late, but it's still the most current version, so we'd like to show you what's new. This is the first release version made for the MOD Dwarf, but it also has some important new features for the MOD Duo and the MOD Duo X. The most important new feature in 1.10 is file handling. Users can now add their own files to the device, and plugins are able to create and save files to the device. Files can be accessed through the new File Manager tab. Files are arranged into 4 categories: audio files, MIDI files, impulse response files, and instruments. To coincide with this new feature, we have 5 new plugins which make use of files on the device: audio file, MIDI file, IR loader cabsim, Exemplar, and D-Fluid Synth. Audio file, as the name suggests, can play audio files from 3 subcategories: loops, recordings, and tracks. Files can be looped and synced to the host transport. This is great for playing backing tracks or audio loops. MIDI file, as you would guess, plays MIDI files. MIDI files can also be looped and synced to the host transport. IR loader cabsim allows you to load your own custom speaker cabinet impulse responses. This means you can have a virtual speaker cabinet that emulates thousands of real-world cabinets with impulse responses you can find online or record yourself. Exemplar allows you to load audio samples that can be triggered with a MIDI note input. D-Fluid Synth is a sound font player plugin, capable of loading SF2 and SF3 files. These are sample-based instrument files. This release also brings improvements to control assignments. Now it's possible to change the behavior of buttons and foot switches to be toggle or momentary. When assigning a button or a foot switch, you now have 3 options: latching or toggle, momentary on, and momentary off. Knobs can now be assigned to toggle parameters. Turning a knob to the right will toggle on, while turning a knob to the left toggles off. Knobs that can be pressed down will also toggle, except on the Duo, where pressing the knob cycles through controls. For buttons and foot switches assigned to a list, the LED color can now be set to static or cycle, where the LED color changes with each item on the list. This also works for button groups. When we look at the devices, this is the first firmware version for the Dwarf, so everything is new here. On the Duo X, we added LED brightness control, which can be found in the settings. The total number of assignment pages on the Duo X is increased. There are now 6 pages for assignments. We've made some changes to the Duo to bring it more up to date with the newer devices. There is a new screen layout which shows you the active pedalboard and snapshot names directly on the displays. There's also a new font, and now the LEDs blink while the pedalboard is loading and stop to let you know that it's finished loading. On the developer side, we added support for 4 official LV2 extensions and 1 custom LV2 extension. Log extension allows plugins to print statements. Patch/parameter extension allows plugins to display visualizations such as waveforms and wave shapes. This can be seen in the new audio file plugin that shows audio waveforms, and the MIDI file plugin that displays the number of tracks and the duration. State extension allows plugins to save things like the state of recorded audio and text notes. This can be seen in the handy new Notes plugin, which allows you to take notes on your pedalboard. Control input port change request allows plugins to change their own user-facing parameters. For example, a user could press a toggle to start a loop, and then the plugin could turn that same toggle back off when the loop is finished. The support for these extensions means that developers will be able to make even more exciting plugins than before. In the device settings on the web GUI, we added a dangerous section for irreversible actions such as deleting banks, pedalboards, and plugins. Lastly, in the plugin store, we added a filter to show installed or non-installed plugins only. As with every release, there are a number of bug fixes and incremental improvements. You can see more details on the releases page on our wiki, on the release topics in the forum, and the 1.10 release blog post on our website. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.